Hi and welcome back to the channel. And first of all, we hope you've been really enjoying our Blitzkrieg German build that we've been doing. We're putting together this force for a campaign, chain of command campaign, which we intend on playing, all being well. We've sort of had the BEF, if you might remember the couple of videos we've done showcasing the BEF force and obviously the reinforcements going in. I'll leave the links to their video somewhere in the cards up above here. Technology, where's Jamie when you need him? Somewhere up here anyway. You'll be able to click on. That force was brilliant. I love putting that force together. Again, researching that one, coming up with how we're going to play it, what sort of types of things that they would have at the time. And I definitely intend on adding to it in the future. A couple of things I want to add to it is like the little Tilly light van, a couple of our trucks and things like that. So again, I get a little Vickers Mark 6. I do love the Vickers Mark 6 tank. I think it's a cute little thing, and it's just me. So I'm going to add that into it at some stage, and you'll see the progression of this force grow. Likewise with the German force, you've seen at the moment what we've done so far, and again with that, along with those units that we've done, it will grow even after this campaign. I mean, again, I've got plans for doing a pioneer force for it. I've got this idea, I may have talked about it before, the little Prots Krupp 69 truck, Prots truck. I've got one of those, and perhaps certainly in the early part of the war, then later on when I've got this idea of going into Russia, but don't tell Mel. Bugger, she watches these videos. Right, she knows now. Anyway, so that aside, I quite fancy getting the 251/7 engineers half track and pioneers half track, and then putting them in that later on to have that, and then moving the Prots truck into the infantry force. So I've got a few ideas floating around in my head how I want that to be built, and I certainly think that will sort of add a little bit of character and flavour and that to the force, as well as sort of adding into the vehicle wise for the Germans. I'd like to get a Panzer III, early Panzer III. I think that would be quite nice, and you've got to have it. If you've seen how we built the force, if you haven't seen the videos, I'll leave a link to the playlist at the end of the video. I've built it, say, around 7th Panzer Division, but it's flexible enough that I can change it to however I want it to be. If I want it to be an infantry force, I might put a Stug in there, because I do like the Stugs, and go from there. So what's this video about today? Well, not Germans at the moment, or figures or anything like that. This is a terrain build. Now, part of the campaign that we're doing is obviously based on the counter-attack at Arras, May 1940. I come up with this idea that I wanted this workshop or forward aid post. It can be used as either. And you'll see why, and there's a little novelty thing in there that I'll show you in a bit. And I wanted this building to be not a spectacle on the table, but just something for a bit of fun. And I bought a Charlie Foxtrot model. Now, if you've seen my posts and that I've done on Point HQ's Facebook page, you'll see that I was not very pleased with the kit. And I'll explain why when I show you the model. I'm happy how it's turned out now, but I've had to do quite a bit of work to it to get it to the stage of where it is now. But I'll explain why. I'll show you that. And the other thing I wanted to show you was a 3D printed Calvary set. Now, I'll leave a link to the company below, as well as Charlie Foxtrot. I'll leave a link to all their stuff in the description below. And this set is absolutely brilliant. You may remember the little drinks cabinet that we got for the British for their support points. Well, it's coming from the same company, and I tell you what, they are brilliant. I can't remember the name of them off the top of my head, but I will leave a link in the description below. I think Ken from Eccentric Man, he's done a review on some of their fences and terrain bits and pieces and that they do. They also do a lot of movement trays for Infamy. That was it. So brilliant. They are really good. And as I said, I'll show you this Calvary set, and I'm really impressed with that. So without further ado, without me rambling on too much, I'll spin the camera around. We'll have a take a look, yeah? So here we have then the first building. This is the Charlie Foxtrot Workshop, obviously albeit without the foreground little lean-to on the side, and obviously the base that we made up on front. Excuse fingers there. I had some issues with this kit, and to be honest with you, I was a little bit disappointed. And the reason being I was a little bit disappointed was the roof section, you get 2 of the same side. Now, the framework you got inside here, it's got some lugs on the girders for the supports. They actually locate onto the side of the roof. Now, that's fine one side, but the other side, it doesn't fit to the lugs. You've got to turn it, you've got to reverse it, which is fine if you're going to put tiles on. But as he's laser cut tiles actually onto the roof section, by reversing it over, it doesn't work. And you've got to cut it off and you've got to redo it and then re-glue it back on. So that was one of the first things I noticed in that with the kit. The other thing as well, I noticed the sides of the kit, he's used one side to print and then he's just used the same side to use the other for cutting the opposite, so cuts 2 of the same. Well, that's fine, but if you laser cut anything, you get a burnt side and a clean side. Well, your burnt side is going to be outside on one of them and inside on the other. So again, when it comes to painting and things like that, that can happen, and I have seen it in the past where it can have an effect on your paints. So to me, what it needs to be done is when he's drawn it up on his software he uses, he needs to reverse the cut and reverse the image and then do it from there and then put it to the laser. That is the easiest way of doing it. And the other annoying thing, and there is a reason why I got this kit, the other annoying thing was I wanted a kit that was a certain size, internal dimensions size. Now looking on his site, seeing this kit, I thought brilliant. I said to Jamie, I said brilliant. I said this is what we want, an open sort of workshop which we can use as a forward aid station, or we can use it as a garage stroke workshop for what we want to do with it. And I'll say I'll take that off of there a minute, and you'll see what I mean. In here now on these girders here, they have some lugs obviously that's glue into place up into there. This centre one didn't. I've had to sort of mess about with that to get that to fit, and then obviously I've had to put foreground pan tiles or tiles on there, not pan tiles, tiles on there to hide the opposite roof section that he's made. I might have to do the same for foregrounds kit and put the roof tiles and that on there. But in here, obviously, this little garage set was by First Call, really good. Excellent for what I wanted to do, little pumps and that, and a little sort of toolbox and bits and pieces. I'm going to put a few boxes and barrels and that inside the building and that there when we come to play the game. Again, what you can do is take out the front section there if you wanted to make it an aid station and come up with a different front, and you've got a different bit of kit. The reason I wanted this kit to be the size that it was is I wanted to make it a theatre, a sort of a novelty theatre, and you'll see that on here. If I just pop this into here, I wanted it to fit my iPhone 5, sorry, my old iPhone, this one. So again, if you can imagine that on there, all this in there, the workshop there, that put on the front, you're playing your game, and you've got the Fort of France, the Battlefield series playing in the background in there. Adds a bit of character and adds a little bit of flavour, I think. Or is that just me being silly? But there we are. That's just the way I am. I like things like this, little novelty things. But like I said, I wanted it to be able to fit the actual building in. Now I'll show you the work I had to do to it to make it fit. Just pop this down here and take that back out of there. And I'll turn it this way. You can see, if I put it there, you can see how much I've had to file down. It's almost like a thin piece of paper. This section here, I've filed down here to almost, I say, like a thin piece of paper. Then on the sides, I've cut down some spruce, MDF, and I've put it in there to strengthen up the back and the side corners there. Exactly the same this side. And then, like I said, if you look, I don't know if that sort of the camera picks up how thin that MDF is down there. And then obviously I've filled out with a load of filler and that. I've just packed it out to put some strength back in there, some mechanical strength back into it, and then fit it all up. But as I said, if you look at it now, I can pop that down in there and it fits down nicely. As I say, a lot of work really for what it is. Yes, I know, but I think it will certainly add a bit of flavour and a bit of fun to the game, to be honest, and definitely worth looking into. And I say that pops back up on top of there, and I'll just spin him up so you guys can see him. But there we are. So yeah, it was a lot of work, and I think it's gone after a lot of fun and that, you know. And I think with the foreground little lean-to on the side, which looks like a little office for it. And when I started in the motor trade and that in the main dealership, this actually is very similar to how it was when I started. But anyway, yeah, I did that for 15 years to get out. I've had to build up the back to make this fit now because of altering the rear corners and that. The roof wouldn't have fitted on, so that's down to me. I've had to sort of make that up and fit that in to make that sort of work in the corners there. And as I said, luckily I had some of the foreground paint left over for this colour, and I could just whopped it on there and just a bit of a weathering down just to sort of take the edge off of it a little bit. But there we are. So that's it. That's the little workshop and the little garage. And I think, you know, as I said, I think it'll be a little bit of fun really. And as I say, it's just a little novelty section in there to just add a little bit of flavour and that into the game. So there we are, guys. That is the Charlie Foxtrot little workshop converted into whatever you want it to be, really. A little theatre system. Right, on to the next one. Quick top tip, guys. Painting MDF models. If you ever struggled in that, you've painted them and painted them and painted them, and the paint just absorbs straight into the MDF, and that being it's a porous material, and you think, oh, this is awful and that, I really can't get a decent finish in that on these kits and that. What I advise, I was told this by our friends from Foreground and that many years ago, hairspray. Spray hairspray. Can I have a look in your wife's products and that, and, as in hairspray products. Have a look at her hairspray. Give that a coat over the top like you would do normally, varnish the model afterwards. But before you do anything, prep the model, give each piece, I say a spray of hairspray, and then put your primer on it. And your primer will sit on the surface of the hairspray. So it won't penetrate and it won't actually get absorbent, and you've got to keep spraying and putting layers and layers and layers of paint over it. So I've been using this, and we've been using this technique and that now for many years and that now, and some very, very, very satisfactory results. Some hairsprays are better than others, but like I said, just have a test, have an experiment, have a little piece of MDF and that, and give it a try yourselves and that. So hope that sort of helps and that sort of help you get a better finish on your MDF models. So next up then we have the Calvary set. And this is by Sabotage 3D. That was it. I told you, bad memory. I'll leave the link to them in the description below. These are brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Really impressed with how this kit came. The actual the monument itself, that was separate. All the pieces were separate. The wall sections, that were all separate. Comes, I say, 4 wall sections, obviously with the steps out in front, and then you have, obviously, this is a separate one-piece casting or one-piece print. And as I say, the wall sections are all one-piece prints. I cut a piece of MDF down, glued it all in place, and then before gluing the actual monument on, I cut a piece of very hard balsa to fit around in the centre, just to raise it up a little bit. That way I wouldn't have to mess about with any fillers or anything like that. I'll just spin him up a minute, excuse fingers. And then that way, sort of, I say, raised him up a little bit, and then that way sort of like helped out putting the actual monument to the top. Let that dry, load of sand and that, painted him up, Mel painted him up, and she's done a beautiful job on weathering the brickwork and the stone and that. It was a stippling effect. All of that, all the stonework and everything, was all stippled on. And I tell you what, I think that is a brilliant bit of painting actually. I really do like that. And then obviously once that was all dried, put the sand on it, let that dry. A lot of people put their sand on first and that, and do that first and then obviously undercoat, but we do that sometimes, and sometimes we do it the reverse way. But this I thought was brilliant because we could use this then for any period we want to, or not say any period, a lot of periods, and that you can use this for. The actual flowers and the grass sort of tufts and that sort of gives that a little bit of extra depth, and along with the sort of coarser stones and that in there where people have walked around it, sort of the path going round, and it's all sort of brushed aside. again, brilliant. I love it. I love this bit of kit, and this is a fantastic sort of display of what 3D printing can do. I mean, I was really impressed. You might remember in a previous video we had a little drinks cabinet. Well, that was from Sabotage 3D. Again, brilliant. Absolutely love it. Really, really good kit. I think Ken, Eccentric Man, he's done a review of some of their stuff in the past and that. And I agree with what he's saying. Some of it's a little bit brittle, some of it can be with 3D printing and that, but I think that it's getting better, certainly as technology of 3D printers and that improves. So there we have it then, that's the 3D printed Calvary set. So next up, and finally, we have some patrol markers and jump off points. I mean, the bigger ones are the patrol markers for chain of command, and the smaller ones are meant to be jump off points, but I shan't use them as that. I've already got my jump off points and that for the game. I will use those as sort of lockdown markers. These are by Warbases, and Mel painted them up and that while she was doing the Calvary set. And I think it's done, no, very nice, very bright. That's what I want, sort of bright, that sort of showing you on the table and that you can see him doing your patrol and that patrol phase. And so yeah, so this is sort of a couple of extra little novelty things to add into the game. Bit of fun, as I said, with the old Union flag there and obviously the German cross there. But yeah, so there we are. That's the final bits all done, ready for the game. Hopefully we can get it in, sort of all being well. And so there we are. So hope you're staying safe, guys, and hope your projects are all going well, and hope you're sort of really excited about what you're doing. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and click the notification button. Until next time, guys, stay safe and happy wargaming.